Welcome back to Civil Wars. I'm William Spaniel, and this lecture is on the real reason for China's internet censorship. So basically everyone knows that China censors their internet. And the conventional wisdom on this is that the Chinese Communist Party doesn't like negative comments about their government. What they want to avoid is posts saying things like, the Chinese Communist Party is terrible, they implement all of these bad policies, I really hate this particular policy, why on earth do they implement these sorts of policies? That's the sort of censorship that most people think China is engaged in. As it turns out, this conventional wisdom is wrong. Censors don't actually care if you say that you don't like the government. You can say really, really negative things about the Chinese Communist Party, and the censors won't actually remove those sorts of posts. And the reason that we know this is because of a recent study by Gary King and a couple of co-authors at Harvard. So this paper actually just came out last year in 2013. You can check the comments section or the description section, and I'll link to that there. What Gary King and his team did was go on Chinese social media websites, and this is actually a bit of a task, unlike the United States, with apologies to Google+. Most of the social media attention in the United States is focused in Facebook and Twitter. This is not the case in China. Things are very much decentralized, where you have like about 50 or so social media websites over in China that have a decent popularity. So Gary King and his team actually went to all of these sorts of websites and were recording random social media posts from those websites. They were recording the content of those posts, and they were monitoring these posts in real time. China actually employs censors who, by hand, look at these posts and choose whether to remove them or not. And so what Gary King and his team were doing was looking to see which posts were getting removed and which posts were not getting removed. And because they were recording the content of these posts, they could then have a computer analyze the content of the posts and see what's getting removed and what's not getting removed. Essentially, what are the Chinese censors actually looking for in choosing whether to remove a post? And the result was stunning. The conventional wisdom is wrong. Chinese government is not worried about negative comments. What they're worried about is collective action, for the reasons that we talked about in the previous lecture. When a bunch of people go out on a street corner together, there's safety in numbers, and that safety in numbers provides extra bargaining power for the group. And so what the Chinese Communist government, the Chinese Communist Party, is trying to do is remove the possibility of collective action. And the way that they can do that, in part, is by removing social media posts that encourage such collective action. They don't want people saying, hey, let's meet on this street corner at this time and protest, because that might actually inspire other people to do it, which might inspire other people to do it, and suddenly you have the snowball effect where everyone's protesting and things are getting out of hand for the Chinese Communist Party. So instead, to help combat this, they remove those sorts of posts. They accept the fact that people aren't going to like the government, but what they can do, what they can change, is collective action that is designed in part to remove Chinese Communist Party power and change the government. And so they remove these posts encouraging collective action for that reason. So that is a neat application of the theory that we saw last time. It is definitely the case that big people in important places over in China are aware of these sorts of problems and are doing their darndest to stop them. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time where we talk about the true story of the fall of the Berlin Wall in East Germany. Hope to see you then.